a portable device that you're going to take with you to prove to us that you're not consuming alcohol while you're on this probation. So it's at Reynolds, right?
Yes, Judge, page 24.
Thanks. All right. Good morning, Mr. Reynolds. Sir, you're charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On March 10th, 2025, officers were patrolling the area of the 13,500 block of Beechnut Street, Harris County, Texas. And they observed a white Hyundai Kona with an aluminum pole stuck to its hood due to a recent crash. A traffic stop.
What?
A aluminum pole stuck to its hood.
An aluminum pole stuck to the hood of a car.
Yes, Judge.
That's the basis for the stop.
Yes.
Okay.
This is word for word what when I observed a white Hyundai Kona with aluminum pole stuck to its hood, comma, recent crash. I then got behind the vehicle and yeah, finished. Yep.
Yeah, keep going, please.
Okay. I'll just repeat this. I went back and got behind the vehicle. The officer started speaking with the defendant, who admitted to being driving and that he had crashed. The defendant told me that someone swerved into his lane and crashed into a pole. The defendant stated that he already called his record and that he was good to go. The defendant did not show any intentions of going back to the original scene and gave his information. While the officer was talking with the defendant, a security officer told the client that some people flagged him down the street, saying that the defendant crashed into multiple parked vehicles and drove off. The officer detained the defendant and went back to the original scene, which was a quarter mile from where the officer found the defendant.
Now that adds to it. I mean, that's certainly.
The officer spoke with a witness who stated that he was by the front of the apartments when he saw the white vehicle losing control, crash into a pole, and kept on driving while hitting another two vehicles. The witness stated that he was going around 60 to 70 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour speed limit zone. This confirmed how the aluminum light pole got stuck to his hood. The witness stated that he did not see anybody else around the vehicle before the incident. The officer spoke with one of the owners of the vehicles that was struck, and she stated that it will be around $200 to fix her vehicle and wants to pursue charges. The complainant of the other pickup vehicle had damages to the back right part of that vehicle, and the complainant stated that the defendant crashed into her vehicle and left without providing information. The defendant left the scene without, okay. At this point, they called intake, and then they completed an inventory search of the defendant's vehicle and located a black backpack with 7.4 grams of multiple clear plastic bags and scale.
Was he under arrest? I mean, if he's
Yeah,
under
so
arrest,
they
then,
called,
but I didn't hear that he's under arrest or anything. They just up and go start searching?
they did say that the officer called DA intake and spoke with an EDA who accepted charges of the FSGI. And then it states there was an inventory search conducted.
Okay, so they did arrest him but what happened? Because is there an FSGI charge?
We're going to be honest, Your Honor, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I'm working on it right now. If there's FSGI, right now I'm working on the complainants. We can get things worked out that way.
I mean, I don't
Right now, we do
understand.
not have an FSGI charge at this very second.
Did they accept it or did they not accept?
Based on the DIM statement, it says that we accept the charges. So I am trying to see why there is not a charge, but it's not something that I know.
What a weird day so far.
Your Honor,
Um,
can I say something, Your Honor?
no, don't. Now's not the time. I'm gonna give you a lawyer and you can tell your side to the lawyer, but, um,
I think it was a glitch in our internet system, so they could find their, but they just, wherever, yeah, that's check.
is it going to go through? Do you know?
I need to look into our system, our each, to figure out why it didn't, talk things over. If portions of works, we can make it grand jury. But
So I'll give you, I guess, let's do this. I'm gonna appoint a lawyer today and I'm gonna find probable cause for the moment, but I want to revisit it within the next couple of days to see what is going on. And then, all right, so I am gonna find probable cause for now, Mr. Reynolds. Can you look to see if he has a license, please?
Yes,
Driver's
Judge.
license. How old are you, Mr. Reynolds?
I'm 26, sir.
His driver's license is not eligible, Your Honor.
You're not allowed to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care if you need groceries. I don't care if you need this, that. If you don't have a license and liability insurance, you're not allowed to drive. No, I will give you a lawyer today. You can say your side to the lawyer, but if you don't have a license and car insurance, you're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That is a condition of your bond. If I find that you do, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail, and no more PR bonds for you. So what I can have you do is I'm going to have Deputy Miranda give you an application. I'm going to have you fill it out. I'll have you talk to a lawyer today. But unless I guess let's do that. I'll have you talk to the lawyer and then we can revisit the situation after you talk to the lawyer. Please.
Thank you, sir.
I'm still waiting on that. Can you hold? I think it's here. Hey, Vic, no more from yesterday. Is she up here? Mr. Alvarado, you are charged with driving while intoxicated. You were facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 3 days in jail with credit for the 2 days that you have done. You need to understand that this charge will go on your record after today, and it will be there for the rest of your life. From now on, you will be facing a minimum of 30 days in jail for any new cases that you pick up. So no more slaps on the wrist, as it were. You get pulled over from now on, and you have the slightest smell of alcohol in your breath, an officer sees this DWI. It's probably not going to go well for you. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, sir.
Giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record and you never take it off. Is this what you want to do?
I am guilty.
I'm going to find you guilty. I will follow the agreement. The other thing is that there is a $3,000 surcharge that tacks onto your license and onto you when you pick up a case like this. I will waive it today. But if you continue to endanger our community, the next time a second offense, it's a $6,000 surcharge. And if you don't pay it, every $100 you owe, you sit 1 day in jail. So get a clue. From now on, if you want to have 32 beers, 52 shots, take an Uber. It's not hard. I am going to suspend your license for 90 days. Do not drive until you get a license. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
No, he'll pay for this, dude.
It's been filed a while ago, wasn't it? It just recently.
It's already attached, right?
Yeah. Those were taxes. I think it's already, okay, just making sure my notes just
Hello,
said.
good morning.
You're Alfred Brown.
I am.
You're facing an assault causing bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in
I
jail.
don't believe so, Your
I
Honor.
don't
I
think
believe this
that's
is an
me.
interference with the public
Right, I'm
service.
looking.
Yeah, and that's not
Yes,
me.
you're right. Interference in the duties of a public servant, 6 months in jail and a $2,000 fine.
Quiet.
We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On March 11th, 2025, at approximately 1:21 p.m., the officer observed a vehicle speeding at 48 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone, and a temporary tag that came back as expired as of March 3rd, 2025. A traffic stop was initiated. The defendant stopped in the middle of the road, and the officer signaled for the defendant to pull over to the nearest parking lot. The defendant opened the driver's side door and attempted to step out. She became hostile and then was yelling and cursing. The defendant was giving commands to walk in front of the officer's patrol vehicle. Since the defendant was not complying with commands to get back inside the vehicle, the defendant then walked partially to the back of their car, and the officer detained the defendant and began actively resisting. The defendant was given multiple commands to place their hands behind their back, and the defendant continued to pull away and tense on the officer's attempt to walk them back to the car. The defendant then locked onto the door to prevent the officer from placing handcuffs. The defendant was taken to the ground where they continued to resist. The defendant was tased after giving repetitive commands and not complying. The defendant was then successfully placed into handcuffs, and it was later learned that the defendant had an unloaded firearm in their vehicle and was identified by their Texas driver's license.
Okay, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. Can you run the license, please? Make sure it's eligible.
There is no driver's license on file, Your Honor.
Yeah, and I have it eligible. My driver's license is valid.
Unless you have a valid Texas driver license
I do.
and liability insurance in your name, you're not allowed to drive. That's a condition of your bond. That's the only condition I'm going to put on you. Just when you get into a pissing match with someone with power of arrest, who's going to win? Don't say anything. It's a rhetorical question, but really, people have been shot for far less. You got to be careful in this life. You only get one. You know what I mean? Really.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm not, like I said, the only condition is just drive with a license and insurance. You've got lawyers, so they'll take care of you because you have a lawyer. I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but just stay in touch with them. They'll tell you if and when you have to come back to court.
Yes,
If
sir.
they tell me just hold on. If they tell me they can't get a hold of you, if you take off, you pick up a new case, I am going to revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Just be nice. It's not hard. All right?
Yes,
I'll
sir.
have you sign a receipt, Victoria. We'll have you take a seat while I get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it, and then you're free to go.
Right this way.
Is this a true first?
It is, Your Honor, yes.
You are Luis Racinos.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Racinos, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 180 days in jail to be probated for 12 months. As part of this agreement, you will do a DWI education class, a okay, no victim impact family, I guess, no, okay. You will also do a TRAS, which is an evaluation to see what other conditions you may need. They may assess more conditions, they may assess no other conditions. If they assess further conditions, you must fulfill them. No alcohol, guardian interlock, and 20 hours of community service. Substance abuse treatment as recommended by the TRAS. These are the conditions for you to successfully complete this probation. If you complete it, regardless, you need to understand that this DWI is going on your record. It will be there for the rest of your life. You can never take it off. From now on, you will be facing a minimum of 30 days in jail for any new cases you pick up. Because this is going on your record and you get caught in a car driving, cop pulls you over, you have the faintest smell of alcohol, they see this DWI, it's probably not going to go well for you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So even if you've had a sip of alcohol, I wouldn't get into a car because you're taking a huge risk. You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it goes on your record. It's going to be there forever. Like I said, you give up this right to appeal. Now, on this probation, no alcohol for an entire year. If we find that you're using, if you don't do your community service on time, if you fail to do your class on time, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to put you in jail and bring you back out, and we're going to have a hearing to determine whether you violated this probation. You're looking at 180 days if you do. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you still want to do this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to send you to the agreement. Before we leave, can you run his license to see whether he?
Yes, I can do that right now.
I come up with just a.
It is currently suspended for ALR.
Right. That's what I figured. Your license currently is suspended because of the administrative license revocation hearing. You are not allowed to drive. So if you drove here, you may not drive home. Do you understand? So you're going to have to get someone else to drive the car home for you. Because you don't have a license now, we will require you to obtain a portable device that you're going to take with you to prove to us that you're not consuming alcohol while you're on this probation. So let's make it a condition that he get his license back. Now I'm adding on another condition that you need to get your license back. It's not hard. I think all you have to do is just pay a reinstatement fee.
Okay.
That's it. So it's not difficult, but you need to do that. And if you don't, if you start driving on this probation, you don't have a license, you're looking at 180 days. So don't just drive. You need to ensure that your license is valid with DPS. Once you pay that reinstatement fee, it takes 2 to 3 weeks just to get back in. So don't just start driving once you pay it because it's not reflected in the system. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Good luck, bud.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, City.